Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you. We are filming here on Monday, March 10th for Wednesday, March 12th. And it is 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday night, and you know what that means. 10 Cent Beer Night, FifthDimensionRadio.com, the official sports show of FifthDimensionRadio.com, every Wednesday, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I am Seth, and I will be going solo today. Bob is down with the sickness, as the band Disturbed would say, and we really hope that he pulls through and recovers fast. If I sound a little nasally, it's because I just got over it from last week after we were done filming our 10 Cent Beer Night. The next day, I start coming down, and I was like, I don't really feel very good. So, and then the next 4 days were not very pleasant. And I bring that up because take care of yourself. Seriously, this is a very special time of the year. The weather's turning around here in Ohio. It's about 60 degrees right now as I am recording this. It's supposed to be 64 and sunny the next few days, and then Friday's supposed to be 74 and sunny. So Ohio's going to get a tease of spring before evil March turns the winter back on. We just had our daylight savings day too, nationwide. So we are seeing the turn for what me and Bob like to call baseball season. So we're looking forward to that. But drink your water, make sure, you're definitely hydrated there. Get some rest, because stuff's going around, and we want everybody to be with us as healthy as possible going into the spring and into the summer here. So, excuse me. As you can tell, I still got a little bit of it, but I am here. I am overall healthy. I'm safe to be around people, and this is one of the best weeks in the sports calendar every year, right here, okay? Because, one, March Madness has begun. It is beginning this week. We have so much to talk about as conference tournaments start. So much good basketball. It's not even funny. Then you have the NBA. We'll start with things there first with the Cavaliers. Because a lot happened this past week, and there's so much to smile about. And then like I said, we're recording here on May 10th, which is the official new season of the NFL. The offseason is underway. Crazy stuff already happened last night, including one big move for the Cleveland Browns. We'll get to that and more. And, of course, we still have spring training baseball. And everybody fighting for their positions right now, and we are a few weeks away from opening day, but it's all here. So much going on this week, a lot to look forward to. Let's get started. Cleveland Cavaliers 54-10. And yes, you heard it right. Another perfect week. A 14-game winning streak. When this streak started, they were 40-10. They are now 54-10. This is insane. This is absolute not complaint. No, there's no complaint here. I mean, this is. I have never been in my life. I would say the only closest exception would be Ohio State football because they play less games. Okay. But I have never had a team I loved spoil me so much as the Cleveland Cavaliers are doing right now. We have never seen a Cleveland Cavaliers team like this before. Okay. Now, they're still, let's see, they've played 64 games. So, they have about 20 no, it'd be less than that, 82 games. So, they have about 18 games left. Okay. So there's still a decent amount of basketball to play, but here's the bottom line. We have literally never seen a Cavaliers team like this. LeBron James has never had a team, whether it was Cleveland, Miami, or Los Angeles, like this. Never. The late 80s Cavs, the early 90s Cavs, Nothing even close to this, all right? We're seeing records breaking that Michael Jordan's Bulls didn't even have. Think about that. How crazy that is. It's insane. Like this team is on a tear, and people are trying to figure out a way to stop. People are still making excuses if they're the real deal. Guys, they're 54-10. They're in their second 14-game winning streak. They're 1 win away from tying their best winning streak of the year, which, by the way, was the first 15 games of the season. And they still got 18 games left. They could literally, and I wouldn't wish just because I was saying, hey, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. They could lose a game this week and start another 14-plus win streak if they wanted to. It's not impossible. It's not improbable. It's just insane how well this team is playing. This was the recap of this past week. They went 4-0 again. Last Tuesday against the Bulls, they won 139-117 in Chicago. That game was interesting. I got to watch it. You know, like I said, I was sick in bed. And so I put the game on. And Bulls kept up with them most of that game. And then all of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, the Cavs went on this monster tear. And Chicago panicked and had no answer for anything. I mean, I gave Chicago all the credit. They kept up with them. They were neck and neck with them the entire time. It was probably about the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter, maybe 9-minute mark, about little more than midway of the fourth quarter, and the Cavs exploded. Just turnover, throw a 3-point shot, goes in. Turnover, throw another shot, and it goes in. Bulls just. They called, I think, 2 timeouts within that span, had no answers. The game was about over after that. So they beat the Bulls there. Wednesday against the Heat in Cleveland, Cavs won 112-107. Heat did not have Tyler Hero, but they did have Bam Adebayo go off. They also had a touching tribute to Kevin Love, who finally got to play his first game in Cleveland in the Heat uniform. The other opportunities he had, he was hurt. So the fact he was active and they got to play some touching tributes to him and welcome him back home, that was a big deal. And he loved it. His wife loved it. Just was a very, very special moment there in Cleveland. Friday against the Hornets, he won 118-117. A hard-fought game by the Hornets. I keep telling people, okay, Hornets have won now 15 games. They had won 14 at the time. They did win the very next day on a buzzer beater. Hornets are going the right direction, believe it or not. They got some very good players. They just need more. It's one of those things. They have a good core in the works. They just need to surround. If you can remember, excuse me, when Cavs were drafting and whatnot, and they had Darius Garland. They did have Colin Sexton at the time. Then he gets hurt and then traded for Mitchell. But they had Darius Garland. They had Evan Mobley. They traded for Jared Allen. They drafted Isaac Okoro and all that. And they had a good core there. But they needed more around it. That is about where the Hornets are. Except I think they need another piece to their core. And then add a little more around. But they have a good blueprint. The future's bright. So the fact that they only beat this team by 1, I mean, I wouldn't overlook it. I mean, the Hornets played them tough. They were making their shots. They were taking advantage of any opportunity they had. It wasn't a bad night for the Cavs. It was just, I think they were kind of gassed. And I think they were hoping that game was going to be a little easier for them than it was, and it wasn't. But they pulled out the win. So I wouldn't say they only beat the Hornets. But look, at the end of the day, those guys are pros too. And the Cavs have a target on their back. Everybody wants to beat them. Because they're tired of hearing them. The Cavs were not expected to be, they were expected to be good. I think everybody had them top 5 in the East at least. Okay? Possibly top 5 in the whole league. Nobody had them number 1. Not at this point. And so the Hornets were like, they're coming to our house. We want to beat them, and they've been beating up on us all year. So they swept the Hornets. I think they're done with the Hornets for good, but they swept the Hornets. And I'm gonna check that real quick. Yeah, the Hornets are swept. Won't see them till next year officially. But just that's a team to keep an eye on. Them, and I will say in the East, the Raptors, I like the blueprint. They just need a little more, and both teams are going to go into that lottery and hopefully get one of the higher picks and add another weapon to their arsenal. So, something to look out for. Sunday night on ESPN in front of everybody, the Cavaliers beat the Milwaukee Bucks at Milwaukee 112-100. Okay, this is a potential playoff matchup. I would say round 2. This we won't know until certain things happen, like winning round 1, seeing where the rest of the seeding finalizes before we know for sure if the Bucks are going to be a legitimate matchup in the playoffs. But realistically, at this point, the way things are, they could be a potential round 2 opponent for the Cavaliers. And the Cavs just swept them, 4-game sweep. I don't remember the last time they swept the Bucks, okay? And this is a big deal, too, for Cleveland because, one, if that is a round 2 matchup, they have proven that they can play well against it. And this Bucks team is talented, but they're still working out the new chemistry. They added Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr. At the trade deadline, so they shook the roster up. They're without Bobby Portis and Chris Middleton in their core for the first time ever. Portis has been gone, but I mean, still, that was somebody that was huge for when they won the finals a few years ago. And then you got Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, of course, in the mix. That's a good star duo there. Doc Rivers, head coach. So people expected more from the Bucks. They are playing well, and of late, I mean, they've won 8 of the last 11. Okay, they were on a 4-game win streak until the game before the Cavs. They lost, so now they're on a 2-game losing streak. But there's still this Bucks team is expected to make the playoffs. This is a big deal for the Cavs, though, because when you talk about we keep talking about, the Cavs winning the championship in 2016. We keep talking about all the playoff runs in the LeBron eras, the first and second one. Look at the division crowns for the Cavs. Like when they've won the division. It has not happened much at all. Actually, LeBron did it only, I think, 6. I'm going by memory here. I don't have anything in front of me. Did it only 6 times. Between his 2 tenures with Cleveland. That's it. The rest of the times, it was either Indiana. In the 70s, Milwaukee ruled the Central Division in the 70s. In the 90s, you know the story, the Bulls. So the Cavs have not won the Central Division a lot. Okay? Now, after their win against the Bulls, they officially clinched a playoff spot. And so I think that's what it. I gotta look back here. Yeah, that's what it was. It may have been the Heat. After the Heat, they clinched a playoff spot. So Cavs are officially in the playoffs. They're probably not far away from clinching the division, too. I know everybody's looking at that number 1 seed in the conference, and that's the way you should look at it. Winning the division is not as big of a deal as it is in the NFL, NHL, and Major League Baseball. But for the Cavs, for this regime, this time period, the Donovan Mitchell era, the Kenny Atkinson era, whatever you want to call it, to win the division for the first time ever, that's awesome. Because, again, I cannot stress, it has not happened much in Cleveland. So it would be a big deal if they could get it done. And they will get it done, okay? I think the only threat is if the Cavs were to somehow, and God forbid, we haven't seen this at all this year, were to crumble, lose a chunk of games, and Indiana caught up, which I gotta pull up the standings and see how realistic that is. Yeah, Cavs are the only team that have clinched in the NBA, believe it or not. Thunder haven't even clinched. Let's see, Pacers. Cavs would have to lose almost every game left on the schedule, and Pacers and Bucks, or because Bucks would still be in the conversation here, would have to almost win every game left on the schedule in order to take the division away from the Cavs right now. So Cavs are sitting pretty. It's almost pretty much a done deal. But no, this is awesome here. Yeah, they're up 17.5 games against the Bucks. One more win, they're pretty much going to be handed the division crown already. So, no, this has been awesome this year. So, this week's games. Tuesday, yours truly will be there. It's at home. It's against the Nets. FanDuel, and then a local station will be carrying the game. That is on 7 p.m. By the time you hear this, you'll already know the result. They should have won that game. That's a team they should beat. Friday, this is where it gets a little tough. And for some reason, national TV has yet to pick this up. I wonder if there'll be a change, and ESPN will at least pick it up for Friday night. They're playing the Grizzlies, which is one of the top teams in the league. Okay, they played the Grizzlies on February 23rd. They beat them 129-123 at home. They're going into Memphis. This is going to be a test. I see ESPN picking up this game. They have not, but this would be a good game to broadcast there. Sunday in Cleveland, ABC and ESPN Plus picked up a 1 o'clock game. They will be playing the Orlando Magic at home, a rematch of the first round of the playoffs last year. Last time they played the Magic, they beat them by 40. So that's a televised game, and I like that they're still hyping that up. I do think it's because realistically, look at the standings. This could be we could see a rematch of the first round from last year this year, just on different seeding. Instead of 4 versus 5, it could be 1 and 8. Yes, the Magic could realistically be the 8th seed this year. So you could see a potential rematch in the first round of the NBA playoffs from last year with the Cavaliers and the Magic. So, and then the next game that will be played before our next 10-cent beer night next Tuesday, they have a 5-game West Coast road trip. So they're going to be away from home for a while. Next Tuesday on the 18th, they will be in LA to play the Clippers, and that's a 10:30 p.m. game on FanDuel. And that one's going to be interesting. That's the game I think they can win. Clippers aren't playing bad. They're better than what I thought they would be this year. So, hey, I'm out of time for the first segment. We got to take a break. When we come back, we will be talking March Madness, Ohio State Buckeyes, Akron Zips, Mid-American Conference, Big Ten Network, not network, but Big Ten Conference. Oh my, it's here. I'm looking forward to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our next segment here on 10 Cent Beer Night here on this second week of March here. And like I said, in Ohio, it's starting to look a little like spring. Don't let it fool you. I know not every listener that tunes in is from Ohio. I know what the majority of ours is, but March will fool Ohio. March is mean to Ohio. We could have a blizzard coming around the corner despite the 70-degree days coming up. But that gives you a reason to just sit at home or go to a safe, good bar and watch some good basketball. And I'm not just talking about the Cavaliers, which, by the way, Kenny Atkinson set a new coach Cavaliers record for 54 wins in a season. 53 was the record. I think that was Mike Brown and LeBron James' third. It would have been his third season in the NBA, and the first time they made the playoffs together too. But yeah, so that's Atkinson's going to set a very, very high first-year coach record for the Cavaliers that possibly could never be beaten ever again. So that you're watching history unfold here. But it is now time to talk about the very thing I've wanted to talk about since January. Excuse me. March Madness basketball. It is here. We're going to start with Ohio State in the Big Ten. First of all, Ohio State's last games of the season. Okay, this past week, last Tuesday against Nebraska at home, they beat them 116-114 in double overtime. Got some revenge from their loss from Nebraska back on February 9th. And then Saturday, on March 8th, this past Saturday, I should say, they lost to Indiana 60-66 at Indiana. It was a very close game, a back and forth game there. So they got swept in the season by Indiana there because they lost to Indiana last January 17th, 76-77, and overtime in Columbus. So Ohio State ends their regular season 17-14. Overall record, 10th in the Big Ten, 9-11 conference record. So again, this is their first season under their coach, and it's Coach Dabler there, and young coach. He's got some good prospects coming up. He did get some good transfers this past year. He's really starting to make a program there. Not a bad season by any means, okay? But he is going to probably need to win the Big Ten, and this is a big if, the Big Ten tournament if he's going to be there for the big dance, okay? Didn't do enough where if he made it to the semifinals, they would give him a look. I don't think he did enough there. Which is, again, first year, the Big Ten got tougher. It got bigger too. It added 4 schools. And mind you, these are 4 pretty good basketball schools too. So we knew this was going to be a test year for him. So again, it could have been way worse. He still has a chance. He's got the tournament to play, the Big Ten tournament, that is. Excuse me. But it's do or die. Okay, I think he has to win. I mean, I don't think he can just go even to the final and lose. I think he's got to win the Big Ten in order to get that consideration there. It's just the way it is. Maybe if he makes the Big Ten final, he will get some decent votes. I just wouldn't bank on it. I would say the safest bet is to win the Big Ten and then lock your spot in right there. But how is he going to do it? Now, it's going to be tough, but here's the whole first round of the Big Ten, okay? March 12th. So, by the time you listen to this, you'll know the result of the Ohio State game because they're starting stuff early, about 3:30 p.m., and then 25 minutes after each game. So you will know the result by the time you hear this. Maybe they've lost, maybe they've won. I think they will have won this one, but we'll start. Anyway, first game is on March 12th, 3:30 p.m., okay? And it's going to be at Peacock. Number 13 Northwestern at number 12 Minnesota. I like Minnesota a little bit better in that matchup. But that's game 1. Game 2 will be number 15 Iowa and number 10 Ohio State. That will also be on Peacock. Not just because I like Ohio State, but I do think Ohio State's the better team. They have beaten Iowa before. I just think they will at least win round 1 here. Okay. Number 14 USC will play number 11 Rutgers. I could see an upset potentially there in USC winning, but if I were to put a bet on it and I don't sports gamble, I would say take Rutgers, but I can see a scenario where USC wins this game here. March 13th games. Indiana, number 9 Indiana this will be on Big Ten Network at noon. Number 9 Indiana will play number 8 Oregon. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be one of the better games there. I will say Indiana by an edge, but Oregon is such an underrated college. A big basketball school. People keep thinking football with them. But Oregon really has a solid program in basketball. This one could go even to overtime. This one's going to be neck and neck. I'll give Indiana the edge there. The winner of Northwestern and Minnesota will play Game 5 against number 5 Wisconsin. Okay? And then the Game 6. The winner of Iowa and Ohio State will go on and play Illinois. I do think if Ohio State goes on and plays Illinois here, Illinois will win. This is where I think things stop for Ohio State. I hope I'm wrong by that, but Illinois has been a solid team all year round. They've had Ohio State's number as well. I don't see Ohio State winning that game there against Illinois. We'll do Iowa first. Against Iowa for Ohio State on January 27th, they beat them 82-65. So they've beat up on these guys before. That was the only time they played Iowa, by the way. Against Illinois, they were at Illinois when they were 18th ranked in the nation, and they lost to them 79-87. And that was the only time they played them. And I do think if Ohio State beats Iowa, they're going to lose to Illinois. Okay, that's just me. The winner of the USC-Rutgers game will play the 7th game of the tournament, which will be evening on March 13th, and they will play number 6 Purdue. I think Purdue walks away with the win there, regardless who wins between USC and Rutgers there, okay? March 14th, okay, so we're going into, that'd be Friday. We're going into Friday. The winner of the Indiana-Oregon game will play number 1 Michigan State, okay? I like that matchup because here's the thing is, okay, Michigan State, the number 1 team in the Big Ten, out of the top 4 were nationally ranked. Michigan State was 7th overall. Maryland was 11th. Michigan was 22nd. And Wisconsin was 18th. And then go down the list. Purdue was number 20th in the nation. Oregon's 23rd. Illinois 24th. Between Wisconsin and Purdue, UCLA, who was not ranked, went 22-9 overall, 13-7 in the Big Ten. UCLA has had a solid, underrated season this year. Whoever wins between Indiana and Oregon, and I said I think Indiana's going to edge them out, is going to give Michigan State fits. It's just going to be a good game. Michigan State I think will win, but it's going to be by a narrow margin. The next game there, the winner of whoever Wisconsin plays there will play UCLA. That's going to be a very good game, too. That one could come down to the wire. The following game there, whoever wins the Illinois game will play Maryland. That's a good one. I could see a scenario where Illinois beats Maryland. Not try to write off Maryland like that, but I just see a scenario where you could see an upset there. It's March Madness, anything can happen. Then I told you I think Purdue would win, regardless who wins between USC and Rutgers. That winner is going to go on and play Michigan, okay? And I can see Purdue beating Michigan, or part of me thinks Michigan's going to edge out Purdue, and then when we get to the semifinals, Illinois or Maryland's going to beat Michigan and go to the finals. And then I have let's say it's Michigan State versus UCLA or Wisconsin. Okay, I can see Michigan State and either Maryland or Illinois in the championship in the Big Ten championship, and I think that's about how it's going to fold there. I would say if I were to make a pick right now for you, just settle and pick. I see Michigan State, Illinois in the final in the Big Ten championship. Michigan State wins it. Okay, but I think you will see a few upsets here in this Big Ten tournament. But I do have, for our Ohio State fans out there listening, I do have Ohio State winning round 1 against Iowa, but I think the next game they're going to be cooked. So there you have it. For our Akron Zips, they won their last 2 games this past week against Toledo. They won 96-87 at Toledo, and then on senior night at home against Buffalo, they won 88-70. They ended up with a 25-6 regular season record, which, by the way, is the new regular season, not tournament game counting, best win record in program history for Akron. So that's awesome. This is already one of the most winningest programs in the history of the school. All right. The most wins, including tournament wins, by a Zips team was in 2017 when they won 27. So they've already won 25. If they were to win the MAC again, they would be at about 28. So, I mean, they have a chance to do some serious milestone, making some serious milestone marks here in the season. This very special season for Akron. They did lock up the number 1 seed, 25-6 overall, 17-1 in the conference. And they were one of 7 schools in the nation to not lose at home. Well, completely undefeated at home. And they will start things off in Cleveland on Thursday against Bowling Green. 11 a.m. I don't like the first seed playing at 11 a.m. I know the MAC doesn't get a lot of love. But you remember, too, in the MAC, it's only the first 8. So, 11 a.m., Akron tips things off against Bowling Green. When we pull up our schedule here and look what they've done against Bowling Green this year, they beat them on January 3rd at Bowling Green, 71-68. Excuse me. And I think that was the only time they played Bowling Green this year. Oh my gosh. There's no way. No, that was they only played Bowling Green once this year. That's crazy how the schedule got set up like that. So they'll play Bowling Green. Bowling Green snuck in there and took the 8th seed in the last about week and a half of MAC basketball there. I do have Akron winning that game. I do think they're going to go on to the second round here, aka the semifinals on Friday night there. They will play the winner of number 5 Ohio versus number 4 Toledo. And in that one, I got Ohio winning. Toledo has not played top-notch basketball the past couple weeks. Ohio has played top-notch basketball the past couple weeks. I got Ohio winning there. And then game 3, again, this would be all Thursday first. Number 2 seed Miami will play number 7 seed Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan also, just like Bowling Green, just snuck up in there to make the tournament within the past week and a half. I got Miami winning, though. Miami's played some good basketball of late. They're going to win that game there, okay? Number 6, Western Michigan will play number 3, Kent State. And I got Kent State winning that one there. Western Michigan's done well, but against some of the top 5 teams, they really just... And I get it, like they just missed being part of that top 5 conversation, but they just have not played well against the bigger MAC schools this year. I'm going to go with Kent there. So then you have Akron versus Ohio U. Ohio U was the only conference foe Akron lost to in the regular season. Okay, Akron gets their revenge here and takes a trip to the MAC finals by beating Ohio here. Okay. Then you have number 2 Miami versus number 3 Kent State. You could go either one here. Okay, I'm going to pull up real quick Kent's schedule against Miami. They lost, let me see here. They went 0-2 versus Miami of Ohio. They lost them 61-70 on January 18th in Kent. And then they lost to them in overtime 92-96 at Miami of Ohio. I'm not underlooking Miami of Ohio. I just know Kent State. They will find random revenge with certain teams during the MAC tournament. And I have them beating Miami of Ohio. My gut says Miami might be the better team. They could have the edge here. But I think, they swept them in the regular season, and when it comes down to where it counts the most, Kent is going to edge them out. You're going to have another Akron-Kent game, MAC championship game, I think. And I think Akron is going to get the brooms ready, and for the second year in a row, they're going to beat Kent 3 times. And that's how I think it's going to play out there. But part of me does not rule out a Miami, Ohio versus Akron MAC championship game. But I will also say I'm not going to overlook to Ohio U because of how well they've been playing of late, and they're the only MAC team to beat Akron. Akron needs to have the revenge game and make sure they lock. They need to make sure they beat this team here. Here's good news for Akron fans: is a senior night just passed. Me and Bob had said all year he's going to lose a bunch of seniors. Turns out most of them had more eligibility than we thought. He's only losing 3 guys, including 2 starters. So next year, they're already going to be pretty strong. But I don't want to focus on next year. I want to focus on this weekend, the MAC tournament, the Big Ten tournament. Akron's played very good. They have to win the MAC. They just have to. They cannot let this slip by. They cannot let another team go represent the MAC in the big tournament. After all the domination Akron's been through all year, it cannot end on that note. But they got to get it done. I believe they can get it done. But again, you have Ohio U, you have Miami U, and you have Kent State that can get in the way of that. I do have faith they're going to beat Bowling Green. But the rest, it's up to Akron. But I have in my predictions, Akron is going to the big dance there. So I got to take a break. When I come back, NFL free agency, it is already crazy. Myles Garrett signs a new big deal. We're going to talk about that and more. Stay tuned. And welcome to our last segment here on 10 Cent Beer Night here in the Fifth Dimension Radio Studios. And thank you guys for tuning in here. I'm Seth. I'm going solo today. As you know, Bob has been under the weather. As we've been under good weather, a lot of people have been under the weather with the weather change and everything going on and some bad germs going around. And that's not just my language. That is the language of the hospitals around the nation. It's just been crazy how sick some people have gotten. I won't even say some. A lot of people have gotten. Some people have been sick multiple times. So hydrate, rest up, watch some sports, take care of yourself. A lot to talk about because NFL offseason has just begun there. Okay. Yeah, I just got some breaking news, and by the time you hear this, you'll already know. But Milton Williams, one of the top free agents, has just agreed to the Patriots on a 4-year, $26 million per year deal. So that's a big deal there. So, NFL free agency just underway today officially. A lot of things happened last night. Here's a quick, before we start talking about the Browns and everything, here's a quick go-around of what went around the league the past 24 hours there. Vikings and Aaron Jones agreed to a 2-year deal, so he will stay there. Bengals re-sign offensive lineman Cody Ford. Their Seahawks re-signed Ernest Jones. Jets re-signed linebacker Jamian Sherwood to a new deal. Patriots and Harold Landry agreed to a deal. Landry was cut by the Titans about a week or two ago. Cowboys re-signed Marcus Bell. Patriots re-signed tight end Austin Hooper, former Cleveland Brown there. Broncos re-signed backup quarterback Jarrett Stidham. Falcons agreed to an extension with Jake Matthews. That's a good deal for the Falcons there. Good tackle there. Joey Bosa, who was recently cut by the Chargers, former Ohio State defensive end. And I was shocked, by the way, with that cut, by the way. Talking to the Dolphins, 49ers are interested too. They have his brother Nick Bosa on the team there. Trey Smith signs a franchise tender with the Chiefs there. Good offensive lineman, good guy with a good head on his shoulders. One of the Browns drafted him a few years ago, but they didn't. It is what it is. Commanders re-signed tight end John Bates and tight end Zach Ertz. So, I mean, Commanders are having already an offseason within itself. Broncos re-signed defensive tackle DJ Jones. Seahawks are interested in both Aaron Rodgers and Sam Darnold. And Steelers are interested in both of them, believe it or not, there. In case you haven't heard, Myles Garrett signed a 4-year extension with the Browns, which will keep him in Cleveland until 2030. $123.5 million guaranteed. It'll be about $40 million a year. That is the highest paid NFL non-quarterback NFL player in NFL history. So not the best contract in NFL history, not quarterback related, okay? Now, you're probably thinking, well, quarterback related, wouldn't that be Deshaun Watson? Wouldn't it be Lamar Jackson? No, because yesterday that record got set too after the Bills gave Josh Allen a 6-year, $330 million contract extension, $250 million guaranteed. The reigning MVP has become the biggest contract in NFL history. So there you go, some records all over the place there in the NFL. But here's the good news, Browns fans. Myles is staying. He is happy. He's okay with going from Cleveland to Canton, but he wants to take the Lombardi Trophy to Cleveland and at least bring one back home to the Browns. And we just got more breaking news here. Sam Darnold closing in on a deal with the Seattle Seahawks. So he was high on my wish list for the Browns. A little bit less after he did not play very well in the playoffs with the Vikings. But I did overall like the type of quarterback he was. But it sounds like he is going to head to Seattle. That's about a done deal there. Rams signed Davante Adams to a 2-year contract. So that's going to be an interesting fantasy football player target there with him and Matt Stafford in that high passing offense there in Los Angeles there. It's gonna. I'm very curious to see how that works out because I think it could work out there in Los Angeles. Texans will sign Sheldon Rankins to a new deal. They've re-signed him. He's not a new player. He's been with Houston. Saints trade for defensive tackle Devon Gotches from the Patriots for a 7th-round pick. Falcons released Pro Bowler Grady Jarrett this morning. He is talking to multiple teams there. Panthers extended cornerback J.C. Horn. That's good. That's a good move for them. Khalil Mack, the former, we were talking about the Mack Sports, former Buffalo player. he's decided he will play after all, and he is going to go back to Los Angeles to the Chargers. He's agreed to a new 3-year deal there. Buccaneers re-signed Ben Bredesen, the guard there. Broncos will meet with tight end Evan Ingram, who was cut by the Jaguars this past week. Cardinals re-signed offensive lineman Evan Brown. Vikings will host Jonathan Allen, who was recently cut by the Commanders. Buccaneers signed wide receiver Chris Godwin to a new 3-year deal, a good playmaker for Baker Mayfield there. Buccaneers, meanwhile, have signed Haason Reddick to a new deal there, a 1-year deal of $14 million there. And Haason, solid linebacker there that played for the Jets the past couple years there. Chiefs signed left tackle Jalen Moore, who will help guard Patrick Mahomes' blind side there. Bears to sign center Drew Dahlman. Bears have been trading for 2 good guards the past week, and now they add a new center there, former Atlanta Falcon Dahlman there. They are loading up that offensive line to help protect Caleb Williams. Bengals re-signed defensive tackle B.J. Hill to a 3-year deal. Hill was a free agent target of the Browns a couple years ago. Now he is staying in Cincinnati. Commanders are signing defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw to a new deal. He was with the Chiefs last year. Chiefs and running back Elijah Mitchell agreed to a deal. That's going to be an interesting acquisition for the Chiefs there. I think Mitchell still got a lot in the tank. I think he was overshadowed by the Christian McCaffrey addition a few years ago, but I do think he is still a very good player. Rams re-signed backup quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. Patriots signed linebacker Robert Spillman, who was with the Raiders. Cornerback Paulson Adebo, who was with the Saints, he's now going to the Giants. Jaguars to sign cornerback Jordan Lewis, who was with the Cowboys. Let's see. And one of the bigger free agents in the game, cornerback Carlton Davis, who was with the Buccaneers and was with the Lions. He is going to the Patriots. Titans take Pittsburgh Steelers starting left tackle Dan Moore Jr. and sign him to a multi-year deal. So Steelers have lost their left tackle in all of this. Let's see. Sam Darnold signed a 3-year deal worth $100 million with the Seattle Seahawks. That is official. So, that's a lot of money. But there you go. He's off the board now. Patriots signed tackle Morgan Moses to a deal. Lions to sign quarterback DJ Reed coming from the champion... No, excuse me. Almost a champion. Philly Eagles. No, he came from the Jets. There you go. Vikings signed Isaiah Rodgers, cornerback from the champion Eagles. He's going to the Vikings there. And then, Patriots, Milton. I mentioned Milton Williams there, the defensive tackle who was with the Eagles. He is now going to the Patriots in a deal there. So it's already crazy. It's already crazy here in the NFL, and deals are just going everywhere. And this is one of the best weeks of the year. You have the NBA, you have the March Madness, and then you have the new NFL season where teams are retooling and trying to be where the Eagles are and be the Super Bowl champions and preparing for the draft and all that. And this is just a wild time to be a sports fan. It's a great time to live with all this drama. And we're talking good drama too. We're not talking about what you see in the soap operas. We're just talking about all these guys, where their next journey is going to be. If we're just talking basketball, where all their hard work and efforts are going to be. And it's just, it's crazy. It really is. This is just an absolute treat to sports fans across the nation here. And I don't talk a lot of hockey on here. I'm not a hockey guy per se, but I have a high respect for it. But this is also a critical time of the year for hockey too, and because you got playoffs are around the corner too, similar to the NBA, and So everybody is just watering at the mouth with everything going on, and it's a nice thing to put your focus on, to take a time out from reality and your daily problems there. I know you hear a lot of people say, well, it's a distraction, this and that. Like, I get, anything can be a distraction, but sports is to be enjoyed, and it hits close to the heart to the sports fan, and this is just one of the best times of the year, and you'll hear me say it 1,000 times, but I just love it. This to me, this opening day in baseball, late summer, when the baseball playoffs heat up and football comes back, that is basically Christmas Eve to me. So this is a special time of the year there. So let's talk real quick, because I only got so much time, about the Cleveland Browns. What's their next move? It's been kind of quiet there. Well, it's going to be quiet because, one, they did reconstructure outside of the deal they did with Garrett, which would start after Watson's contract's up. They did reconstruct Watson's contract and getting upwards of $36 million more cap space there. So what are the Browns' big needs going into this offseason? One, quarterback. Okay, we knew that. We definitely knew that. Deshaun's not panning out as of now. He is hurt. We don't know when he'll come back. They made a comment. Well, he could come back at trade camp. We're not banking on anything right now. Okay, they need at least 2 new quarterbacks, whether it's the draft and free agency. I would prefer at least a veteran or 2, because they need at least 1 veteran, or a rookie or 2. And yes, I said 2 because Stefanski has hinted he loves his quarterback class, and they might go for 2 quarterbacks in the draft, and that has happened before. And believe it or not, it's been pretty successful. Not the Browns haven't done this, so I'm not including them in the conversation. Other teams that have done this, it's worked, but the Browns haven't. Maybe they should try this. So, and I'm not saying a rookie's going to come in and save the day, even though it has happened before in other franchises. Jaden Daniels in the Washington Commanders being one example, okay? But they did re-sign Myles Garrett. Joe Bitonio has agreed to come back to the Browns for another season. Things are good so far. So that left tackle's another one. They need to solidify a left tackle. I know DeJuan Jones' name is still in the conversation. He's rehabbing right now. I like DeJuan at left tackle. I did not mind what he did at left tackle this past year, but they need more options. They need security. I would say get as much depth on that offensive line as you can. If you got to wait more into the draft, that's fine. I'm not against that. That is where you can get some affordable, healthier, younger health down there in that offensive line, but you gotta get it. You gotta figure out a way. Re-sign Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is a free agent. He wants this done hopefully today while I'm talking. He said he didn't want to wait too much longer. So I expect them to talk to Nick Chubb there. Joe Flacco's name has popped up in the conversation. That has been reported. Okay. Another one, people are going to laugh about this one. Za'Darius Smith was cut by the Lions. Remember him? The guy we traded at trade deadline for a 5th-round pick? He might come back to Cleveland after all, especially with Myles re-signing. And we may have just robbed the Lions. We may have like, hey, Za'Darius, we hope you had fun in Detroit. Welcome back. We'll use that 5th-round pick we got for you and get you a new teammate while we're at it. But, yeah, welcome back here. So that might happen. And here's the surprising report. And I've heard this by multiple sources, so this sounds legit. Do you remember at the end of last summer, Brandon Ayuk's name popped up? And it was between the Browns, the Patriots, and the Steelers. Who was going to get him? All this whole thing. Would he go anywhere? Da-da-da-da-da. And then he decided, I'm going to stay in San Francisco. I'll sign a new deal here. We'll end the whole charade, and I'm ready to play. Well, Niners decided they're rebuilding. Rumor has it, they're back in the conversation about bringing Brandon Ayuk to Cleveland. You heard it right, on the new expensive contract he just signed. They're talking about a potential trade again about Brandon Ayuk coming to the Cleveland Browns. It is back on the table. I don't know how to fit, because here's the thing is, on paper, sounds awesome. You have him with Jerry Jeudy and everything else you have, could work. The other issue is he tore his ACL and MCL last year. And that is where I'm kind of iffy. You're paying him a lot of money, and he also wasn't sure about coming here. On paper, it sounds awesome, but I'm just not sure. But we'll see here. Let me see if I got any other update for you here. No, nothing new. But I expect, my prediction is by the time you hear this, we'll have an answer on Nick Chubb, though. So, hey, guys, I got to go because we're out of time here. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, producer Bob. And get well, other Bob. Get well, anybody else who's sick. March Madness here. Watch some conference basketball. Next week, hopefully, we'll have Bob back and me back in perfect health. Hopefully, we're talking about the Zips and Buckeyes in the big tournament. Cross our fingers. We're talking about Browns offseason. Guardians spring training. We didn't get to that today, but same old in the spring training world. And then more about Cavaliers and their special run to a special 2024-2025 season. Okay, guys, I'm Seth. This has been 10 Cent Beer Night. And go Buckeyes, go Zips. March Madness is here, baby. I'm all about it.